The blood would not cease dripping from Dante's knuckles onto the worn vinyl booth. Opposite him, Amara pressed her body against the diner window, her uniform emanating the scent of coffee and apprehension. Overhead, the fluorescent lights pulsed, casting an unwell green hue across their visages. Beyond the glass, the wet street shimmered with the rotating flashes of red and blue police lights. Quote, she inquired again, her dark eyes fixated on the firearm he had placed on the table between them. It was not aimed at her, but neither was it concealed. Dante's jaw hardened. His expensive black suit was marred, ripped at the shoulder, and stained with blood that was not his own. Does the number truly matter? Yes, her voice faltered, because 3 hours ago, you were merely a patron undecided between pancakes or waffles. She then gestured towards the weapon, his injured digits, and the tableau of disarray observable beyond the window. And now, she continued, I am an accomplice to whatever transpired in that warehouse. He leaned forward, causing her to startle. The action provoked a fissure within his chest, a calcification that had been forming for years, ever since his father had placed the initial firearm into his 12-year-old grasp. You are not an accomplice, Dante stated softly. You are a witness I am endeavoring to protect. By abducting me, by ensuring my survival? The diner's door chimed. Both individuals froze. It was merely Morris, the night cook, emerging from the kitchen with a first aid kit. The elderly gentleman had witnessed too much in his 70 years ever to be surprised. He placed the kit on the table, refilled Amara's coffee with a trembling hand, and retreated back into his kitchen without a word. Amara surveyed the first aid kit, then Dante's bleeding hand, then her own still quivering ones. Quote 9, she declared. Quote 10. She finally met his gaze. Quote 11. Dante Xiao had been conditioned never to answer that query truthfully. However, the manner in which this woman regarded him, devoid of awe at his affluence or fear of his notoriety, but with the weary clarity of one whose entire worldview had just been irrevocably altered, compelled him to attempt it. Quote 12. He enunciated slowly. Quote 13. He observed her expression intently. Quote 14. Quote 15. That was the crux of it, was it not? The question his mother had bellowed at him. The query his elder brother had posed before placing a firearm to his head and discharging blanks. A mere warning that time. The question that had ignited a civil conflict within his own organization. Why had he relinquished an alliance that would have rendered him unassailable? Dante gazed at Amara, truly seeing her. She was 65 years of age. He ascertained this from the background check his associates had conducted. A grandmother who had emigrated from Nigeria decades prior. Even in her state of terror and bewilderment, there was an indomitable quality to her bearing. She had not fled upon witnessing the blood, nor had she shrieked when he had compelled her into his vehicle and driven her away from the carnage at the warehouse adjacent to the diner. She had only reiterated one question incessantly. Quote 16, not, quote 17, not, quote 18, but, quote 19, quote 20. Dante found himself articulating, quote 21. Dante's body reacted milliseconds before his intellect could process. He seized Amara, rolling them both from the booth, his form sheltering hers as bullets pulverized the space they had just occupied. The firearm was in his hand. He had no recollection of acquiring it. His other arm encircled Amara's shoulders, pinning her to the floor as he returned fire indiscriminately towards the window. 3 shots, then 4. Subsequently, a preternatural instinct compelled him to jerk his head to the left, just as Morris stumbled from the kitchen, his eyes wide, a crimson stain blossoming across his white apron. Quote 22. Amara's cry was primal, but Dante was already in motion. He pulled her backward, towards the kitchen, towards the egress he had surveyed upon his inaugural visit to this diner 6 weeks prior. Always maintain an escape route, his father's inaugural precept, ingrained through physical discipline and cigarette burns until it became instinct. They burst through the kitchen door. Dante risked a backward glance. He observed 3 individuals entering through the fractured window. One paused momentarily to place 2 additional rounds into Morris's body. Professionals, he recognized, his mother's operatives. Then she had located him sooner than he had anticipated. Quote, now 25. He demanded, granting Amara a singular second to deliberate. Her countenance was ashen. Tears carved paths through the coffee stains on her cheeks. Yet, when she met his gaze, her eyes burned with fury and defiance. Quote, 26. She hissed. Quote, 27. Not a question, but a command, as though she possessed any authority in this situation. Dante felt that fissure in his chest widen. Quote, 28. He replied, and propelled her out into the rain-drenched alleyway, into the night, into a conflict she had never solicited. Behind them, Pete's diner erupted in flames. 6 weeks prior, on September the 1st, at 11:34 in the evening, in Newark, New Jersey, Dante had entered the diner because his driver had taken a wrong turn, and he was hungry, and he possessed insufficient regard to correct the error. The establishment was nearly deserted, merely an elderly gentleman nursing coffee at the counter, and a woman in a waitress uniform wiping tables with the mechanical precision of someone who had performed this task 10,000 times. She did not look up as he entered. She did not acknowledge his $1,000 suit, or the manner in which his bodyguard assumed a position by the door. She merely called out, "Sit anywhere you please. I shall be with you momentarily," in an accent that gave him pause. Liberian, perhaps Igbo, owing to the subtle melody in her vowels. Dante slid into a booth and observed her complete the wiping of the far tables. She was methodical, diligent, missing nothing. Her silver-streaked hair was secured in a neat chignon, and she moved with the deliberate economy of someone who had learned to conserve energy through prolonged shifts. When she finally turned towards him, she was already smiling. Not the manufactured pleasantry servers acquire, but something more authentic, weary yet genuine. "A long day?" she inquired, placing a laminated menu down without meeting his eyes. "A long year." This prompted her to glance up. Their gazes connected for one fleeting second, and Dante observed her register what everyone eventually noticed. His face was too aesthetically pleasing for this world. All sharp cheekbones and elongated lashes that should have softened his appearance, but instead lent him an air of danger. His grandfather's countenance, the face that had launched 1,000 criminal enterprises. But Amara, her name tag read. He raised an eyebrow slightly. Quote, "E Bastreet," she declared definitively. Quote, 4. Dante blinked. Quote, 5. Quote, 6. Dante's lips twitched. That is not how menus function. That is precisely how menus function in my section at 11:30 on a Thursday evening. She was already scribbling on her notepad. Coffee? Do I appear as though I require additional caffeine? She gave him a deliberate appraisal, and Dante felt an unfamiliar sensation stir within his stomach. When was the last occasion someone had observed him and perceived solely him? "You appear in need of rest," Amara stated with frankness. "However, you shall not achieve it, so coffee is the next best alternative. Morris will have your pancakes prepared in 10 minutes. She departed before he could respond. Dante remained seated in the booth, feeling strangely disoriented. His phone vibrated. 7 texts from his mother, 3 from his brother, 1 from his underboss, informing him of a compromise in the Connecticut drug route. He ought to have been making calls, issuing directives, resolving complications. Instead, he observed a 65-year-old Nigerian waitress efficiently manage 2 new patrons who had just stumbled in, inebriated and jovial, separating them to disparate sides of the diner with the skill of a hostage negotiator, obtaining their orders without appearing to hasten them. She moved with fluidity, as though she comprehended the rhythm of every environment she entered, and simply flowed. When she delivered his pancakes 12 minutes later, she placed them down with a quiet sense of pride. Morris surpassed himself. That is genuine Vermont maple syrup, by the way. We charge a premium for it, but, she lowered her voice conspiratorially, I shall not disclose it if you do not. Dante glanced down at the pancakes. They were executed perfectly. Golden brown, butter melting into the edges, steam rising in delicate wisps. When was the last occasion someone had undertaken an action for him that was not transactional? "Thank you," he said, and he meant it. Amara smiled. "Merely fulfilling my duties." But she lingered for a fraction of a second longer than customary, and Dante found himself remarking, "You are not from here. Does it manifest?" Dry humor infused her words. "Your accent indicates Nigeria, original homeland, a considerable distance from home." She shifted her weight, and Dante recognized the posture of someone whose feet ached but refused to concede it. How many hours had she been standing? "Is everyone not?" he countered. Something flickered across her expression. Recognition, perhaps, or a shared exhaustion. "Yes," she replied softly. "I suppose we are." Someone called her name from across the diner. She straightened, her professional smile reasserting itself. "Enjoy your pancakes, sir." "Dante. Just Dante. And I am Amara." She turned to depart, then paused. "And for what it is worth," she added, "the waffles are genuinely subpar. You made the correct selection." With that, she vanished, attending to the inebriated couple with the same patient efficiency. Dante consumed his pancakes deliberately. They were exceptional. The syrup was genuine Vermont maple, costly, the sort his mother would have presented at formal banquets to impress politicians and rival gang leaders. Here, a night shift waitress offered it freely because she perceived he appeared weary. His phone vibrated once more. His brother. "Where are you?" "Mother is summoning a family gathering." Dante typed back, "Inform her I will be delayed." Then he signaled Amara as she passed. "I will have coffee after all." She beamed. "I anticipated you would." That evening, Dante remained at the diner until 2 in the morning, long after he ought to have been at that family conference, long after his bodyguard began to fidget nervously by the entrance. He observed Amara manage the late-night clientele, inebriated individuals and those unable to sleep and long-haul truckers with unwavering poise. And when he eventually departed, leaving a $500 bill beneath his coffee cup, where she would not discover it until he was gone, Dante Xiao comprehended that he had just made the most perilous choice of his existence. He intended to return. The estate was situated on 12 acres of meticulously maintained grounds that exuded old wealth and ancestral lineage. Dante's paternal grandfather had purchased it in 1987, with funds from their initial successful heroin consignment from Buen. It now accommodated 3 generations of Xiao, each more formidable than the preceding one. Dante's mother awaited him in the tea room. Isabella Xiao was 53 years old, and had personally decreed the demise of 17 individuals known to Dante. She was attired in a cream Chanel suit, her hair styled in a perfect chignon. Her hands, refined and meticulously groomed, had once submerged a man's head in water until his struggles ceased. She poured tea with those same hands now, a faint smile gracing her lips. "You missed the family meeting." Dante occupied a seat opposite her, accepting the cup. "I was occupied with work." "You were at a diner in Newark." Her smile remained unaltered, consuming pancakes for 3 hours. Naturally, she possessed prior knowledge. She invariably did. The sustenance was palatable. "The sustenance," Isabella repeated softly, "was palatable. I understand." She took a sip of her tea. "Dante, my cherished son, my astute offspring, do you perceive me as foolish?" "No, mother." "Then refrain from insulting me with falsehoods." She placed her cup down with a delicate chime. "You have frequented that diner on 4 occasions this week. The identical diner, the same work shift, occupying the same alcove for extended periods, requesting beverages you do not consume." Dante offered no reply. "There is a woman, not an inquiry." "There is invariably a woman." "Mother, not concerning you. You have demonstrated no interest in any of the women we have introduced. Not the physician's offspring, not the legal professional's niece, not even Chairman Park's daughter, and she is exquisite." Isabella's eyes narrowed. "Therefore, this particular one must be significant." Dante met her gaze. "I will not engage in this dialogue. You shall have this conversation, or you will endure a considerably more unpleasant one with your brother." She leaned forward. "In 10 days, you are scheduled to meet the offspring of the California Syndicate. Her appellation is Valentina. Her family exercises dominion over all territories west of Nevada. This union will grant us access to Pacific trade routes, to the information technology sector, illicit financial activities as well. I will not wed her." Silence descended upon the tea room. Isabella's smile became fixed, then gradually receded. What superseded it was more unsettling. the expression she assumed prior to an act of violence. Repeat that. I will not wed Valentina. I will not enter into matrimony with anyone of your choosing. Dante placed his cup down, pleased that his hands remained steady. I am finished with prearranged alliances. You are finished. His mother emitted a laugh, a sound akin to fracturing glass. Do you believe you possess an alternative? Do you imagine this pertains to your contentment? It pertains to my existence. Your existence is beholden to this lineage. Isabella rose, and Dante instinctively followed her movement. His father had instructed him never to permit anyone to tower over him. All that you possess, all that you are, exists because we established it. Your grandfather shed blood for this enterprise. Your father perished for it. And you believe you can relinquish it for what? A waitress. Dante rose deliberately. How do you ascertain she is a waitress? His mother's smile returned with predatory intensity. I am fully cognizant of Amara Akafair. 65 years of age, resident in the country for 43 years, employed in 3 positions to transmit funds to her relatives in Lagos, 7 grandchildren, an unblemished record, punctilious with her tax obligations. She circled him like a predator, which implies she is unblemished, innocent, precisely the sort of vulnerability you cannot afford. A chilling sensation permeated Dante's core. Remain distant from her. Or what? Isabella halted directly before him. You will shield her from what? From me? From your sibling? From the 16 other families who will perceive her as a vulnerability to exploit the moment they realize she exists? She does not exist in their perception. She is inconsequential. Then maintain that status. His mother's voice softened, adopting an almost tender tone, which was when she posed the greatest threat. Depart, Dante. Marry Valentina. Solidify the alliance. And in a year, 2 years, when circumstances have stabilized, then perhaps you may indulge in your minor diversion. She is not a diversion. Then what is she? Dante parted his lips, then closed them. He had posed the identical query to himself 47 times over the preceding 3 days. Amara was what? A waitress who elicited laughter from him. A woman who regarded him and perceived an individual, not a mechanism of destruction. Someone who existed within a reality entirely separate from bloodshed, wealth, and influence. Someone who facilitated his recollection of a desire to transcend his father's meticulously aimed firearm. She is mine, he declared finally. Isabella's expression convulsed. She is a woman awaiting her demise. If you persist in this course, do you comprehend? The instant you elect her, you affix a target to her person. Every rival consortium, every ambitious subordinate, every eager operative seeking to demonstrate their prowess, they will all perceive her as the most expedient means of inflicting harm upon you. I will protect her. You cannot. His mother grasped his face, compelling him to meet her gaze. You cannot protect her and manage this organization. You cannot protect her and survive your siblings' aspirations. You cannot protect her and preserve her innocence. Her voice diminished to a whisper. Affection is a detriment, Dante. It is a blade they will impale in your gut, and she will be the one hemorrhaging. Dante withdrew. I will not wed Valentina. Then, you are a simpleton. Perhaps. He moved toward the exit. Dante. His mother's voice halted him. If you proceed with this, if you choose this young woman over your lineage, there will be repercussions. Your sibling will initiate action against you. I will be unable to restrain him. Dante glanced back. You have never endeavored to restrain him previously. He departed before she could offer a rejoinder. Amara was replenishing the condiment dispensers when Dante entered. He presented a different demeanor this evening, more strained. His attire was somewhat disheveled, his hair less immaculate. As he settled into his customary booth, she observed his knuckles were bruised. A challenging day, she inquired, placing down a menu he would not peruse. One might surmise so. She waited, but he offered no further explanation. That was acceptable. A significant portion of her clientele utilized this diner as an escape from their life circumstances. She did not require explicit details to provide refreshments and a receptive ear. The usual, she asked. Actually, Dante looked up, and something in his countenance caused her to pause. May you sit for a moment? Amara surveyed the surroundings. The diner was deserted this evening, merely a single long-haul driver in the corner midway through his dessert, and unlikely to require further assistance. Morris was in the rear premises, presumably resting. She ought not to. She had preparations, restocking, a multitude of tasks that necessitated completion before her shift concluded. But something in Dante's eyes appeared desperate. 1 minute, she said, occupying the seat on the opposing side of the enclosure. They sat in silence for a brief interval. Then Dante inquired, quote, Lagos? You originate from there, do you not? What is it like? Amara blinked. In 3 weeks of serving this gentleman, he had never posed personal inquiries. It is boisterous, chaotic, vibrant, beautiful, and vexing in equal measure. She smiled involuntarily. Why? I am endeavoring to envision a locale that represents the antithesis of my existence, that dire constraint that exerted control. Amara observed him closely. She presumed he was affluent. His garments, his timepiece, the manner in which he navigated space as someone accustomed to being obeyed. But now she contemplated whether affluence was the precise descriptor. Perhaps confinement was a more apt term. What is your occupation? She inquired. For employment, I mean. Dante's jaw tightened. I manage the family enterprise. That does not convey the impression of something you find enjoyable. I am not afforded enjoyment. I merely execute it, then cease. He emitted a bitter sound. It is not that uncomplicated. It never is. Amara leaned back. But life is too brief to endure profound unhappiness in a position that is deteriorating you. Trust my experience. I have encountered a sufficiency of regrettable occupations to ascertain. How many occupations do you hold? She ought not to inform him, but something in the manner of his inquiry, genuinely inquisitive, not tinged with pity, prompted her to provide a candid response. 3, this establishment, a custodial service in the mornings, and administrative duties for a maritime transport firm on weekends. That is, he refrained from completing the statement. Perhaps an excess, but I have grandchildren who require assistance with their higher education, family members back home who necessitate support. You do what is incumbent upon you, she responded with a shrug. Family, Dante repeated softly. They are fortunate to have you. Amara regarded him with scrutiny. There was a particular quality in his tone, longing, perhaps, or regret. Someone called her designation from across the diner. She straightened, a professional smile reasserting itself. Enjoy. Amara. Wait. She paused. Dante appeared to be grappling with a significant internal conflict. Ultimately, he stated, I initiated an inquiry into your background. I required confirmation. I needed to ensure your safety. Amara became immobile. Excuse me. Too late. She perceived the predicament into which she had inadvertently entered, the tremor in his expression, the guilt that flickered across his countenance. You initiated an inquiry into my background, she articulated slowly. I am departing. Her voice was subdued, but her hands trembled. At this instant, depart from my diner. Amara, I am indifferent to the extent of your financial resources or the rationale behind your perceived entitlement to scrutinize my life. She stood, and the pain within her chest was a tangible sensation. I believed you to be distinct. I thought she terminated her utterance. It is inconsequential what I believed. We are concluded. Dante also arose. Kindly grant me a hearing. There is nothing requiring consideration. She turned away before he could perceive her tears. Morris will furnish you with your settlement. She proceeded into the kitchen and did not emerge until she heard his vehicle departing. When Morris located her 20 minutes later, she was seated on the floor adjacent to the industrial freezer, her hands trembling. The handsome, wealthy young man, the elderly gentleman inquired gently. Amara affirmed. Morris exhaled, lowering himself to sit beside her with a low groan. He should leave a gratuity. Despite all that had transpired, she managed a moist chuckle. Undoubtedly, he always does. Then, he possesses some degree of sense. Morris offered a consoling pat on her shoulder. Shall you inform me of the events that transpired? He had me thoroughly investigated, as though I were some kind of research project, or as if he intended to ensure your safety. Amara regarded him with a sharp gaze. That is not the case. I have witnessed men in love before, my dear. and I have observed men who regard women as mere possessions. That young man, he looks at you as though you hold significance. It does not imply that his actions were justified. However, perhaps it originated from apprehension rather than a desire for control. Apprehension about what? Morris gave her a knowing look. You are 65 years of age, laboring at 3 distinct occupations, sending financial assistance to your family who are dependent upon you, and well, I am uncertain of his status, but it is something substantial, something perilous. He creaked to his feet. Fear impels individuals to commit follies. The pertinent question is, does he warrant an opportunity to offer an explanation, or not? Amara remained seated on the chilly kitchen flooring long after Morris had returned to his culinary duties. She lacked the answer. OE apartment, Jersey City, New Jersey. The summons at her doorway materialized in the deep of night. Amara jolted awake, her heart pounding erratically. No one typically knocks at 3 in the morning unless an urgent situation has arisen. The police, an emergency involving one of her grandchildren, the landlord bearing unwelcome tidings. She crept stealthily to the peephole. Dante stood in the corridor, looking utterly distressed. His shirt was untucked, his hair disheveled, and a cut above his eyebrow, which she had not previously noticed, was visible. Defying her every ingrained instinct, she opened the door. "Have you lost your mind?" she hissed. "Do you have any awareness of the hour? I must disclose the truth to you." His voice was hoarse with emotion. "The entirety of it, and then you may determine whether you wish me to depart and never return. But I require," he faltered, breathing heavily, "I require you to be aware." Amara should have promptly shut the door, should have contacted law enforcement, should have taken any action other than stepping aside and admitting him. However, she did not. They stood within her diminutive studio apartment, a single room serving as her bedroom, kitchen, and living area. The stark contrast to his own world was undeniable. Dante surveyed the space briefly, then sank heavily onto her pre-owned sofa. "My designation is Dante Xiao. I hold the position of youngest underboss within the Korean-American syndicate." He stated this plainly, observing her reaction. "We orchestrate organized criminal activities from Boston to Baltimore. Narcotics, wagering, illicit solicitation, extortion. If it is unlawful and lucrative, we are involved." Amara's hand instinctively sought the doorknob behind her. Quote 7. He continued. Quote, "I just cease." Quote 9. "Why are you confiding this to me?" Quote 10. "Because my mother is cognizant of your existence. Because my family intends for me to wed another to solidify an alliance. Because if I persist in our association, even for mere late-night pancakes, you will become a target." He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Quote 11. Quote 12. Quote 13. His voice wavered. Quote 14. Tears welled in Amara's eyes. "I cannot be a part of your world. I am aware, nor will I be. I am cognizant of that fact as well. Then what compels your presence here?" Dante rose deliberately, as if any abrupt motion might imperil something delicate. "I am offering you a choice. I can depart this very instant. I can wed the young woman my family has selected. I can ensure your safety by eradicating all knowledge of your existence." He advanced a single step. "Or what? Or I shall dismantle my current existence and endeavor to construct an entirely different one, an honest one that does not necessitate bloodshed for its perpetuation. I cannot ascertain if such a feat is achievable. I cannot guarantee your protection from the ensuing repercussions, but I am certain." He was sufficiently close now for her to perceive the raw and palpable fear in his gaze. "I am certain that I desire to attempt it." Amara should have declined. She should have escorted him to the door and eradicated all memory of the encounter. Instead, she heard herself pose the question, "What would that even resemble?" "I do not know." Dante's hand ascended, lingering near her face, not quite making contact. "But I would find it most agreeable to discover, should you permit me." "This is madness, utterly so. People are bound to sustain harm." "Quite possibly. Your family will never approve of me." "I am indifferent to that prospect." Amara met his gaze and discerned something within his eyes. She recognized the desperate longing of an individual adrift at sea who had just caught sight of the shore. She comprehended that sensation, having experienced it herself upon her arrival in America at the age of 22. "One opportunity," she whispered. "You are granted a single chance to demonstrate that this is not merely a fleeting illusion. One chance to exhibit your capacity to genuinely extricate yourself from that existence. Agreed. And if you prove incapable, then you shall never lay eyes upon me again. I give you my word." Amara extended her hand. Dante observed it. Then her countenance, and an expression akin to awe flickered across his features. He clasped her hand. 2 weeks hence, events would devolve into utter chaos. However, in that precise moment, within a cramped apartment in Jersey City at 3:30 in the morning, two individuals from disparate and incompatible realities made an improbable decision. And for the inaugural instance in his entire life, Dante Xiao experienced a sense of liberation. Xiao Family Estate, Alpine, New Jersey. The familial convocation commenced with tea and concluded with bloodshed. Dante had anticipated an unfavorable outcome the instant he entered the formal dining room and observed the assembled company. His mother presiding at the head of the table, his elder brother Marcus to her right, and 6 of their most seasoned enforcers flanking the perimeter. Not a family conclave, but a tribunal. "Be seated," Isabella commanded. Dante took a seat opposite Marcus, who offered a smile. Such an expression was rarely indicative of good tidings. "You have been quite occupied," his mother commenced, pouring tea with unwavering hands. 3 weeks of clandestine meetings, of clandestine rendezvous with that woman. Did you presume we would remain unaware? I did not particularly concern myself with whether you noticed." Marcus emitted a laugh. "He possesses courage. I concede that much. Foolhardy, perhaps, but courageous." "I will not participate in this," Dante declared, beginning to rise. "Sit down." His mother's voice sliced through the air like a whip. Dante froze, his ingrained obedience warring with a nascent resolve. Slowly, he reassumed his seat. Isabella's expression softened, transforming into something more insidious than anger, disappointment. "I afforded you an opportunity," she stated with quiet intensity. "I granted you a fortnight to regain your senses, to relinquish this diversion and fulfill your obligation. Instead, you have expended every available moment with that waitress, taking her to dinner, escorting her home, engaging in pretense of normalcy. I was not pretending." "Indeed?" Marcus leaned forward. "Then what precisely were you engaged in, my younger brother? Becoming enamored with a grandmother. How utterly charming." His smile contorted into something malevolent. "How fatal." Dante's hands clenched into fists beneath the table. Quote, 23. His mother gently placed her teacup down. Quote, 24. Her elder son retrieved a folder, gliding it across the polished surface of the table. Dante harbored an intense aversion to opening it. Every fiber of his being screamed against such an action. He succumbed nonetheless. Photographs, dozens of them. Amara exiting her apartment building. Amara at her morning cleaning employment. Amara sharing a laugh with Morris at the diner. And Dante's blood turned to ice. Images of Amara's grandchildren at various educational institutions and recreational areas. "Locating your extended family proved to be a straightforward endeavor," Marcus remarked conversationally. 3 children, 7 grandchildren, all residing within New Jersey and New York, leading respectable lives. It would be most unfortunate should any harm befall them. "You would not, would I not?" Marcus tilted his head. "You severed an alliance with the California Syndicate. Do you comprehend the repercussions of such an action? 6 distribution networks compromised, 4 channels for illicit financial transactions rendered obsolete, and the respect of every syndicate from Seattle to San Diego forfeited. They now perceive us as weakened. They believe we are susceptible to coercion. That is not my concern. It is very much your concern." Marcus brought his hand down forcefully on the table. "Because I am the one tasked with rectifying your blunders. I am the one who was compelled to personally address Chairman Park and offer apologies for your discourtesy. I am the one—" "Enough!" Isabella's voice intruded upon her eldest son's outburst. "What has transpired cannot be undone. The pertinent consideration now is how we shall rectify the situation. She directed her gaze at Dante. You shall contact Valentina Park. You will offer your apologies. You will propose a revised schedule for the nuptials, set 6 months hence. Let us surmise that this provides adequate time to mend fractured relationships. No. And you will cease all interaction with that woman immediately and permanently. No, Dante responded firmly. I have stated no. He was on his feet now, though he held no recollection of having risen. I have no regard for the alliance. I harbor no concern for the syndicate. I am unequivocally finished with acting as your instrument of violence. Silence descended upon the room like a shroud. Then Marcus began to laugh. Oh, this is truly marvelous. This is absolutely magnificent. He stood, circling the table. You presume you can simply extricate yourself from this? Do you genuinely believe we will permit such a departure? You possess no alternative. Do we not? Marcus stopped adjacent to him. Observe, my younger brother, you are overlooking a critical detail. You are not merely privy to where indiscretions are concealed. You actively assisted in their interment. He leaned in closely. You are complicit in every transgression, every negotiation, every homicide, every dollar we have ever laundered. He whispered, should you sever ties with us, I shall make a single telephone call to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Within the span of an hour, you will be apprehended. Within a week, you will face a minimum sentence of 30 years. Dante's jaw tightened. Quote, 15. Quote, 16. Marcus straightened his posture. Quote, 17. Quote, 18. Isabella's voice was soft, laced with a subtle warning, but Marcus had not yet concluded his pronouncements. Tell me, Dante, does she know? Does your precious grandmother know about the congressman we bribed? The witness we made disappear? The judge who rules in our favor because we possess photographs of him with a 14-year-old? He grinned. Does she know about the deeds you've committed, the individual you are? Silence. Because I wager she does not. I wager you have been portraying the tormented prince for her, the honorable man ensnared in an unfortunate predicament. But we are both aware of the reality, are we not? Marcus's voice lowered to a whisper. You reveled in it. The authority, the apprehension, the instant when an individual comprehends that you hold their existence in your grasp. You are precisely like father, precisely like me. Dante reacted instinctively. His fist struck Marcus's jaw, snapping his brother's head backward. Marcus faltered, then guffawed, blood adorning his teeth. There he is! That is the genuine you. Dante's chest heaved. His knuckles ached around him. The 6 enforcers had advanced, their hands reaching for concealed weaponry. Isabella rose slowly. Enough, the both of you? She regarded Dante, her expression bordering on sorrowful. You have 24 hours. Make your decision. The woman or your liberty. For if you forsake this family, Marcus will initiate that call, and I shall not impede him. Mother, I shielded you for as long as I was able. She turned away, dismissing him. Now you are on your own. Dante observed his brother, the enforcers, the existence into which he had been born, the confinement he had never solicited but had mastered navigating with deadly proficiency. Then he departed. His hands trembled as he reached his automobile. The chauffeur opened the door, his countenance meticulously impassive. He had overheard everything. Naturally, they all had. Where to, sir? Dante retrieved his mobile phone. 7 unanswered calls from his legal counsel. 3 messages from associates inquiring about tomorrow's congregation. 1 voice message from the Connecticut underboss requesting directives. He eradicated them all. Pete's Diner, he stated, and evade the pursuit. The chauffeur's gaze flickered to the rearview mirror. Sir, your brother's operatives. I am aware. Elude them nonetheless. What ensued was 20 minutes of expert driving through Newark's back alleys, the sort of evasive maneuvers that incurred additional expense and allowed for no discourse. Dante watched the city recede, his thoughts in turmoil. 24 hours. Marcus would honor his threat. His brother had been awaiting an opportunity to annihilate him since their youth, since their father had gazed upon 10-year-old Dante and declared, Orstell's quote. Since every subsequent year had substantiated this observation, Marcus was malevolent, yet Dante was strategic. Marcus instilled apprehension. Dante inspired devotion. Their father had recognized which was more precious, and Marcus had never forgiven him for that insight. The vehicle halted 3 blocks from Pete's diner, close enough for walking, yet distant enough that any surveillance would lose them amidst the pedestrian throng. "Await me here," Dante instructed. "If I am not back within an hour, return home." "Sir, that is an order." He traversed the remaining distance, his collar raised against the September chill, hands plunged into his pockets to conceal the lacerated knuckles. The diner's neon sign flickered in the gloom. Pete's, with half the letters extinguished, thus displaying merely P.E. Through the window, he discerned Amara circulating among tables, a coffee carafe in hand, exhibiting that same efficient grace he had observed for weeks. She was chuckling at something a patron remarked, her entire countenance illuminated despite the late hour and the weariness he presumed she must be experiencing. Dante paused on the sidewalk. What was he doing? Marcus was correct on one point. He was detrimental. All he touched devolved into incinerated remnants and bloodshed. Amara had a life, grandchildren who depended on her, a family reliant upon her. She had endured 43 years in this nation through diligence and resolve. The judicious course would be to withdraw, contact Valentina, offer an apology, assume the role of the devoted son, safeguard Amara by extricating himself from her existence. But then she looked up. Their gazes met through the glass, and Dante perceived her smile waver, detected concern flash across her features as she observed his appearance, his disheveled hair, the bruised knuckles, whatever somberness was etched upon his countenance. She conveyed something to Morris, set down the coffee pot, and pushed through the diner's entrance. Dante, she halted 3 feet distant, close enough for clear vision, far enough for flight. An intelligent woman. What has transpired? I am incapable of this. Amara's expression quivered. Very well. No, I mean, he ran a hand through his hair. My family has presented me with an ultimatum. I detach myself from you, or they will annihilate me, and likely you as well. They possess photographs of your grandchildren. They are aware of everyone's whereabouts. They will utilize every leverage point they can discover, for that is our modus operandi. That is what I have been trained to execute. So, you are here to bid farewell. I am here to counsel you to exercise caution. The words emerged more harshly than he had intended. Abstain from me. If they perceive no connection between us, you shall be secure. Amara crossed her arms. And if I do not wish to comply, this is not a negotiation. You are correct. It is not. She advanced. You do not possess the right to make this determination for me. You do not possess the right to appear at my threshold, disclose the truth, elicit my affection for you, and then vanish from my supposed well-being like some tragic hero. Her voice was steady, yet her hands trembled. I am 65 years old. I have survived destitution, immigration, single-handedly raising 3 children, 40 years of arduous labor. I am entitled to select my own risks. They will terminate you, possibly, or perhaps you possess greater fortitude than you surmise. Perhaps we possess greater strength collectively than they anticipate. She finally bridged the distance separating them. Or perhaps we shall both perish gruesomely, but at least it will be by our own accord. Dante gazed at her. You are deranged. Likely so. As are you. Apparently she reached upward, tenderly touching the abrasion above his eyebrow. Did your brother inflict this? I struck him initially. Excellent. Her hand descended to cup his jaw. This is what shall occur. You shall enter. Morris shall attend to your hand. You shall consume sustenance, for you appear to have foregone sleep for days, and subsequently we shall ascertain the ensuing course of events conjointly. Amara, jointly, Dante. Or not at all. Your prerogative. It was not a choice, not truly. For the instant she contacted him, the moment she regarded him with those fierce, undaunted eyes, Dante comprehended that he had already made his decision. He would immolate his entire existence if it meant retaining her within it. Agreed, he stated softly. Amara smiled. Agreed. She grasped his hand, the injured one, with care, and led him into the diner. Morris cast a single glance at them within. You two shall be the cause of my demise, will you not? Undoubtedly, Amara responded cheerfully. Can you prepare pancakes while we devise our improbable escape from organized crime? Certainly, why not? The elder gentleman proceeded towards his grill, muttering about retirement. They settled into the rear booth, the one affording a vantage point of both exits. Old habits. Amara sat opposite him, still holding his hand. "So," she remarked, "confide in me completely, and I mean everything. No further secrets." Dante took a breath and commenced. He recounted his father's demise, not the official narrative of cardiac arrest, but the veracity of a power struggle that concluded with poison in costly spirits. He spoke of his inaugural termination of life at 17, the sensation of his hands trembling for 3 days thereafter. He detailed the financial resources, the influence, the gradual apprehension that he had transmuted into precisely what he had feared as a child. He disclosed Marcus's envy, his mother's cold pragmatism, the intricate network of allegiances and threats that sustained their enterprise. And he articulated the ultimatum. 24 hours, he concluded. Then Marcus will contact the FBI with sufficient proof to incarcerate me for the remainder of my life, and will likely commence pursuit of you merely to establish a point. Amara had listened without interjection, her expression growing graver with each revelation. Now she leaned back, processing. "So, we abscond," she stated finally. "Shall we depart this very night? We shall vanish before they can act upon any of their menaces. Amara, you cannot simply—" "Why not?" "I have been contemplating retirement for some time. My offspring are adults. My grandchildren attend reputable educational institutions. I have accumulated approximately $28,000 in savings." "How much currency can you procure this evening?" Dante blinked. "A considerable amount." And you are familiar with the operational protocols, are you not? You comprehend the vulnerabilities, the routes they do not monitor, how to disappear. Yes, but then we shall leverage that." Her eyes sparkled with a sentiment that was a mixture of terror and exhilaration. "We shall employ all that you know of them against them. We shall depart this night before they anticipate it. We shall proceed to a location they would not consider. They will search extensively. Then we shall relocate to a place they cannot reach." She leaned forward. "Do you place your trust in me?" It was an absurd inquiry. He had known her for 3 weeks. She was imploring him to relinquish everything, his might, his affluence, his identity, based on faith. "Yes," Dante affirmed. "Then I require you to make a communication to an individual within your organization whom you trust implicitly. Absolutely. Someone whose allegiance to you surpasses their loyalty to your family." Dante contemplated for a moment. "Chen, he was my father's chauffeur. Now he is mine. He has been with me for 15 years. He owes me his life, quite literally. Contact him. Instruct him to rendezvous with us as she surveyed the surroundings, contemplating the parking structure on Market Street in 1 hour. He should bring currency, passports, and any other necessities we might require. Amara, and subsequently contact your legal counsel, the one who manages the legitimate enterprises. Inform him that you are entrusting him with your legal matters while you embark on an extended sojourn abroad. Frame it as an ordinary occurrence, as though this had always been the intended plan." Dante stared at her. "You have been contemplating this." "I have been contemplating escape routes since I was 22 years old and arrived in this nation with nothing." She smiled wryly. "I had simply not anticipated concurrently fleeing towards something." Morris arrived with pancakes, placing them down delicately. "Have you two devised a method to escape the mob yet?" "We are endeavoring to do so," Amara stated. "Well, endeavor more swiftly. There is a black SUV that has been circumnavigating the block for the past 10 minutes. Professional surveillance. They are no longer making any pretense of concealment." Dante's blood ran cold. He moved to peer out the window. "Don't," Mora said sharply. "The moment you confirm you've seen them, they'll move. Right now, they're just watching." "How do you know this?" The old man gave him a flat look. "Son, I've been in Newark for 50 years. You think you're the first criminal I've fed?" Dante pulled out his phone. "We need to leave now. Is there a back way out?" "Kitchen exit leads to an alley. Connects to the parking structure 2 blocks over." Morris started clearing the table. "But they'll have someone watching that too." "Then we need a distraction. I'll handle it." The old man's expression hardened into something that reminded Dante uncomfortably of his father. Quote 7. "Morris, you don't have to. That woman's been working here for 6 years. She helped my daughter find a rehab program. She babysits my great-grandchildren. Quote, 8. So yeah, I do have to now go. Quote, 9. When this is over, you'll send me a postcard from wherever you end up, Morris said. Now get out of here before I change my mind about interfering with organized crime. Amara kissed the old man's cheek. Thank you. Thank me by staying alive. He turned to Dante. You hurt her, and I don't care how many people you've killed. I'll find you. Quote, 14. Understood. Quote, 15 to run. Quote, 16. Sir. Quote, 17. 200,000 in cash, 3 passports, 1 for you under your real name, 2 with clean aliases, credit cards tied to shell corporations your brother doesn't know about, and this. He handed Dante a burner phone. Your lawyer called, said to tell you everything's arranged. The legitimate businesses are in trust, managed by the firm. You'll have access to those accounts remotely. Chen paused. He also said your mother tried to freeze your assets 10 minutes ago. He blocked it, but it won't hold long. Quote, 20. Thank you, Chen. Quote, 21. There's more. The old man's expression was troubled. Your brother mobilized the entire organization, every associate, every connected family from here to Boston. They're looking for you. He's calling it a matter of family honor. What's the bounty? OSB beef. Yen. Quote, 24. He didn't set one. He told them to bring you back alive and unharmed. Chen's eyes met his. Which means he wants to be the one to kill you. Amara's hand tightened in Dante's. We need to leave the state, Dante said. Tonight. Where would they not expect me to go? Honestly, nowhere on the East Coast. Your family's reach is too extensive. Quote, 99. But there's someone who might help, someone your father worked with before the alliance fell apart. Who? Vincent Castellano. He runs everything in Connecticut and Massachusetts. He hated your father, but he respected him. And he's been in a cold war with your mother for years. Quote, 32. He's not a friend, but he might be useful. Dante looked at the card, then at Amara, who nodded despite the fear in her eyes. Set up a meeting, he said. Tomorrow, somewhere public, somewhere my family won't risk a scene. Quote, 35. There's a cafe in Hartford, neutral territory. I'll make the call. Chen moved toward his car, then stopped. Sir, your father would be proud. What you're doing, choosing something real over power that takes courage he never had. Quote, Opats. Who am I supposed to be? Quote, Catherine Chen, investment banker from San Francisco. The paperwork's solid. You could use it for years if needed. She studied the photo, a professional headshot that looked nothing like her current waitress uniform. This must have cost a fortune. I've been preparing for this possibility for longer than I realized. Or autistic smoen. Quote, Sasfas. 4. I think part of me always knew I'd run eventually. I just didn't know what I'd be running to. And now he looked at her, really looked at her. Her silver-streaked hair was still in its work bun, coffee stains on her uniform, exhaustion in her eyes. She should have been terrified. Should have been demanding he take her to the police, to anyone but deeper into his nightmare. Instead, she looked determined. Now I'm running toward you. Quote, 60s, we're going to survive this. How do you know? Because I didn't come to America to die. I came to build something better, and so did you. You just didn't realize it until now. She grabbed the bag of cash. Come on, we need to get out of New Jersey before your brother locks down the state. They took Chen's advice and drove north, using the smaller highways to avoid toll cameras. Dante had memorized the blind spots in law enforcement coverage years ago, information he'd used to move product and hide bodies. Now, he used it to disappear. They ditched his car in a mall parking lot in Pennsylvania, hot-wired an older Honda that wouldn't have GPS tracking, and kept driving. By 3 a.m., they were crossing into Connecticut. By 4 a.m., they'd checked into a small motel outside Hartford under their new names. And by 4:30 a.m., Dante's burner phone rang. Chen's voice was tight. Sir, we have a problem. What kind? Your brother found the diner. He's questioning everyone. And Morris. Quote. 13. Morris refused to talk. He told your brother to go to hell. Quote. 14. Chen, tell me he's alive. Silence. Chen. He's alive, but barely. Marcus made an example of him. Sent photos to every family associate. The message is clear. Anyone who helps you dies. Quote 17. Morris is in critical condition at Newark Medical. Yeon Eastar. Quote 18. Under guard, they're watching him in case you try to visit. I'm going to kill him. Quote 20. I'm going to kill my brother. Sir, you can't. Quote 22. He just beat an innocent old man half to death to send me a message. Quote 23. Yes, I can. Quote 24. Listen to me. If you go back now, he wins. You become exactly what he says you are. A thug, a murderer, someone who solves everything with violence. Quote 25. He hurt Morris. Quote 26. I know, and I'm furious too. Morris is my friend, but he helped us so we could get away, so we could survive, so we could build something better than your family's empire. Quote 27. Don't make his sacrifice meaningless by throwing it away for revenge. Dante wanted to argue, wanted to get back in the car, drive to Newark, and put a bullet in his brother's head. But Amara was right. That's what Marcus wanted. To turn this into the kind of war where there could be no winners, only survivors. Chen, Dante said slowly, make sure Morris has the best doctors. Pay for everything. And when he recovers, if he recovers, get him and his family out of the state. Set them up somewhere safe. Already arranged, sir. I've got people moving them as soon as he's stable. Good. Dante closed his eyes. The meeting with Castellano. Is it set? Tomorrow at noon, Gusp's Cafe on Asylum Avenue. He'll have 2 bodyguards. You can bring 1 person. We'll be there. Quote 4. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? For not running away when you told me to. For Morris getting hurt because he helped us for stop. He turned to face her. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. This is my family, my mess, my blood on everyone's hands. Then we clean it up together. She stood, pulling him up with her. But first, we sleep. We've got a meeting with a mob boss tomorrow, and I'd prefer not to do it on no sleep and pure adrenaline. Despite everything, Dante smiled. You're taking this remarkably well. Quote 11. I'm freaking out internally, but one of us needs to be practical, and you're clearly the emotional one in this relationship. Quote 12. Relationship? Estop leon. Quote 13. We just fled the state together after your crime family put a hit on us. We're dating at minimum, possibly married under some obscure federal fugitive law. That's not a thing. Quote 15. You don't know that. She pulled him toward the bed, a single queen with questionable sheets and the faint smell of cigarettes despite the no smoking sign. They lay down together, still fully clothed, Amara curled against his chest. Dante, she murmured, already half asleep. Yeah, for the record, I'd make the same choice again, even knowing what it cost. Quote 18. Me, too. Quote 19. Dante Xiao. Mitspistörst. Quote 20. You appear to have had a difficult night. I heard your brother is creating quite a stir. Half of the eastern seaboard is searching for you. The other half is placing bets on how long you will endure. Quote 21. And you must be the cause of all this commotion, Amara, correct? The waitress who shattered the Park Alliance. Quote 22. I didn't break anything, Amara replied cautiously. I simply existed. Castellano chuckled. I like her. She possesses fortitude. You will need that. He gestured to the chairs opposite him. Sit. Order something. This establishment serves the finest cannoli in Connecticut, and if we are to discuss the two of you not meeting your demise, we should at least dine well. They sat, Dante positioned himself to observe both exits. Amara noticed Castellano had done the same, two predators circling each other in broad daylight. A waiter appeared, one of Castellano's associates. Clearly he took their order without writing anything down and vanished. "So," Castellano began, "Chen informs me you require assistance, protection from your family, safe passage, perhaps some leverage. Is that accurate?" "That is correct," Dante confirmed. "And what leads you to believe I would aid the son of the man who attempted to have me killed?" Amara felt Dante stiffen beside her. "My father never—" 2003, the summit meeting in Providence, Castellano interjected. "Your father proposed to the commission that my territory should be reallocated to more capable hands. That is not precisely an assassination attempt, but it is sufficiently close in our world." Castellano's smile did not reach his eyes. "So, once more, why should I assist you?" "Because my mother and brother are endeavoring to consolidate more power than any single family ought to possess," Dante stated. "They are encroaching upon your territory in Massachusetts. They are undermining your operations in Rhode Island, and once they are finished with me, they will target you next. They have been pursuing me for 20 years. I am still here, because the commission will not permit them to act openly. But if they eliminate me, the last individual in my family with any semblance of restraint, there will be no one left to advocate for the old agreements." Dante leaned forward. "My brother desires conflict. He has always desired conflict. I have been the one impeding him." Castellano studied him. "And now you are no longer present to restrain him. No, now I am here requesting your help to survive long enough to stop him." "Stop him how?" Dante glanced at Amara, then back at Castellano. "I intend to dismantle my family's empire from the outside. Every illicit enterprise, every hidden corruption, every piece of leverage they possess, I will expose it all." Quote 6:6. "You would bring down your own family." Quote 7. "They ceased to be my family the moment they placed a target on her." Quote 8. "I am finished protecting an empire built on fear. I am finished being the monster they nurtured me to be." Quote 9. "Noble, foolish, but noble." Quote 10. "You realize what you are describing is mutually assured destruction. You dismantle the Shao family, you will create a power vacuum from Boston to Baltimore. Every minor syndicate, every ambitious capo, every rival family, they will all rush to fill the void. It will devolve into chaos." Quote 11. "Better chaos than tyranny." Quote 12. "I was present in the 70s when the old families tore each other apart. Bodies in the streets, civilians caught in the crossfire. Enough bloodshed to submerge a city. Do you wish to unleash that again?" Quote 13. "I wish to stop my brother before he perpetrates something worse." Quote 14. "There is always something worse, kid. You should be aware of that." Quote 15. "Here is what I will do. I will grant you 3 days, 3 days during which my people will avert their gaze, where you are not in Hartford, where I do not see you or hear of you." Quote 16. "That is not protection." Quote 17. "That is willful ignorance." Quote 18. "But it is the most I can offer without initiating a conflict I am unprepared to wage." Quote 19. 3 days are insufficient." Quote 20. 3 days are insufficient to dismantle a criminal empire." Quote 21. "It is insufficient to gather evidence. Contact authorities. Arrange for protection. It is barely enough time to ascertain where to commence." Quote 22. "Then perhaps you should have contemplated that before absconding. It's bull Sims." Quote 23. "We did contemplate it. That is precisely why we are here." Quote 24. "I possess contacts, individuals I have aided over the years, immigration lawyers, journalists, community organizers, and I know people who are acquainted with individuals in law enforcement." Quote 25. "You are proposing to involve the federal authorities." Quote 26. "I am proposing to survive, and if that necessitates cooperation with law enforcement, then yes." Quote 27. Good heavens, you truly have fallen for a civilian, and not just any civilian, a grandmother prepared to incinerate your entire world to preserve your life. Quote 28. Is that a yes? Quote 29. That is a, you possess courage, but you are deranged. Castellano produced his own phone. However, he added, I have been seeking a method to harm Isabella Xiao for 2 decades, and witnessing her son hand over her entire operation to the federal agents. That qualifies as poetic retribution. He typed something swiftly. I know an FBI agent based out of Boston. She has been investigating organized crime in New England for years. Highly competent at her profession, extremely motivated. She would relish speaking with you. He displayed the contact information. Special Agent Diana Reeves, FBI Major Crimes Unit. She is incorruptible, Castellano continued. No affiliations with any families, no bribes, no compromises, which renders her perilous to all of us, yet beneficial to you. Why are you assisting us? Dante asked with suspicion. Because I am weary. I am 63 years old. I have grandchildren I barely encounter, and I have dedicated 40 years to perpetrating violence and evading incarceration. Castellano's expression was tinged with a profound sadness. Perhaps it is time for this entire system to conclude. Perhaps you two fools are sufficiently irrational to actually achieve it. He stood, placing a $100 bill on the table for the uneaten meal. You have your 3 days. Utilize them judiciously. And kid, he looked at Dante, your father would have ordered your execution for what you were contemplating. He would have labeled it betrayal, treason, weakness, but I believe it might be the most courageous act any individual in our world has ever undertaken. He departed, his security detail following close behind. Amara and Dante remained alone in the cafe, gazing at the contact information for the FBI agent. So, Amara began, we are truly proceeding with this. It appears so. You are going to testify against your own family. Yes. They will kill you if they discover. They are already attempting to kill me. Amara observed the exhaustion in his eyes, the fear he endeavored to conceal, the resolute set of his jaw. Last opportunity to withdraw. If you dial that number, there is no turning back. All that you were, all that you have constructed, gone. Dante picked up the phone. Everything I was is precisely what I am attempting to escape. He dialed. Special Agent Diana Reeves was precisely as imposing as Amara had feared. 6 feet tall in her practical flats, with sharp features and even sharper eyes, she regarded them as if they were specimens under a microscope. They occupied an interrogation room, technically a conference room, but Amara recognized the two-way mirror and the camera in the corner. Allow me to confirm my understanding, Reeves stated, reviewing her notes. You are Dante Xiao, youngest son of the Zhao crime family, currently sought by your own organization for refusing an arranged marriage. And you, she looked at Amara, are Amara a Kafir, a 65-year-old waitress and grandmother who somehow persuaded a mob underboss to relinquish everything for love. When you phrase it that way, it sounds absurd, Amara murmured. It is absurd. It is also the most significant case that has come into my possession in 10 years. Reeves leaned forward. The Bureau has been investigating the Xiao family since 2010. We have achieved nothing. Your mother is far too discreet. Your brother far too paranoid. We have had witnesses vanish, evidence disappear, agents compromised. You are offering me the key to the entire operation. I am offering testimony, Dante corrected, in exchange for protection for both of us. Witness protection does not function as you imagine. We cannot simply make you disappear. Your family possesses considerable resources, connections. They will eventually locate you. Then, what are you offering? Reeves produced a thick folder. We are offering you the opportunity to dismantle the entire syndicate, not merely your family, all of them. The Castellanos, the Parks, the Chen family in San Francisco. We are discussing a RICO case that will dismantle organized crime in the Northeast. That will take years, Amara countered. 18 months minimum. You would be under protective custody for the entire duration. New identities, a new location, complete isolation, no contact with your former life, no exceptions. My relatives, Amara stated quickly. My children, my grandchildren. Can you safeguard them? Reeves hesitated. We can make every effort. We will implement surveillance on them, provide security details, but they would need to be apprised of the reasons, which necessitates informing them of your actions. They will comprehend, will they not? You are requesting them to live under protection for months, perhaps years, because their mother elected to assist in bringing down a crime syndicate. Amara's hands clenched in her lap. She repeated to herself, less confidently, that they would understand. Reeves turned to Dante. And you need to grasp something significant. Once you commence testifying, there is no turning back. Your family will know you have turned. They will label you a traitor, a coward, a rat. Every friend you have ever possessed, every individual who has demonstrated loyalty to you, they will betray you. I am aware of this. Are you? Because I have witnessed witnesses crumble under that immense pressure. Men who are tougher than you, with less at stake. The isolation, the perpetual peril, observing your entire identity being extinguished. It devastates individuals. Dante's hand found Amara's. Then it is fortunate that I am not undertaking this endeavor alone. Reeves observed their clasped hands, then their faces. Something in her expression softened slightly. You are either the bravest or the most foolish couple I have ever encountered, she declared. Possibly both, she added as she opened the folder. All right, let us commence with what you comprehend. Names, operations, evidence, locations, every detail. For the subsequent 6 hours, Dante spoke, he informed them about the drug routes extending from Baltimore to Boston, the circulation of money through legitimate enterprises, dining establishments, real estate firms, technology startups, the judges and politicians who had been corrupted or coerced, the killings he had witnessed, those he had perpetrated, and those he had commanded. He sketched maps, divulged names, supplied account numbers, hidden safe house locations, and protocol codes. He dismantled his entire family's enterprise piece by piece and supplied it to the FBI. Amara observed him accomplish this. She watched the man she had met in a diner, charismatic, troubled, searching, transform into something more detached, more akin to a machine. This was Dante, the underboss, the strategist, the instrument his family had meticulously fashioned, and he was now directing himself towards them. By the time they concluded for their evening meal, Reeves appeared as if Christmas had arrived prematurely. This is extraordinary, she remarked, reviewing the recorded testimony. With the information you have provided us, we can commence formulating warrants today. We can advance on locations before they comprehend what is occurring. Do not proceed yet, Dante stated sharply. If you advance presently, they will realize it originated from me. They will make everything significant vanish and confront us with greater ferocity. Then, what is your recommendation? Wait. Allow them to believe I am still in flight, still concealed. Permit them to expend resources in pursuit of me. Meanwhile, you must verify every revelation I have shared. Construct your cases discreetly. When you are prepared, when you possess sufficient evidence to apprehend everyone concurrently, then you should act. That represents a considerable amount of trust you are requesting us to place. It is the sole method by which this endeavor can succeed, Reeves contemplated. Fine, we will allocate sufficient time and execute this correctly, but that necessitates you two remaining concealed for an extended duration. Months, most likely. Where? Amara inquired. We have a secure residence in Maryland, a small town, tranquil, off the network. You will be under constant surveillance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you will be afforded a degree of liberty within reasonable parameters. That sounds akin to imprisonment, Dante remarked. It is either imprisonment or demise. Your selection. He looked at Amara, inquiring without uttering a sound. Can you endure this? She contemplated her children, 2 daughters and a son, all of whom had reached adulthood and established their own families. She thought of her 7 grandchildren whom she cared for on a weekly basis, and of the existence she had cultivated over 43 years in this nation, a modest, arduous one, yet undeniably hers. She remembered Morris recuperating in a hospital due to his assistance in their escape, and she considered the man beside her who was relinquishing infinitely more. My family, she stated. I need to contact them to explain this predicament. They are deserving of this knowledge. Reeves hesitated, then nodded. One supervised telephone conversation is permissible, then no further communication until this matter is resolved. Acknowledged. Very well, Amara affirmed. Reeves stood. I will make the necessary arrangements. You will depart this evening. The longer you remain in one location, the more perilous it becomes. After Reeves departed to organize transportation, Amara and Dante remained alone in the conference room. You still possess the option to withdraw, Dante conveyed quietly. Right now, walk away. I will inform them you were not involved, that you were merely an incidental casualty. They will permit you to depart. They will assist you in remaining secure. You can revert to your previous existence. Forget that this ever transpired. Amara turned towards him. Do you wish for me to depart? I desire you to be safe. That is not the question I posed. Dante closed his eyes. No, may Providence aid me. No, I desire you to remain. I desire you profoundly, to a degree that instills fear within me. I wish to awaken beside you for the remainder of my existence, irrespective of its duration, be it lengthy or brief. However, my desires are inconsequential when contrasted with what is most beneficial for you. Permit me to determine what is most beneficial for me. Amara cupped his face in her hands, compelling him to meet her gaze. I am making this choice. I am selecting you. Not due to any naivety or foolishness on my part, nor because I am caught in some idealistic delusion, but because over the course of the 3 weeks I have known you, you have revealed your true self to me. Not the underboss, not the criminal, but the man who leaves extraordinarily generous tips for pancakes, who inquires about my life as if it holds significance, who is prepared to dismantle everything he has ever comprehended to prevent his family from harming innocent individuals. That man may not truly exist. That might merely be who I wish to perceive, not who I am. Then we shall ascertain your genuine identity together. She offered a smile. In Maryland, within witness protection, in whatever mundane, secure, ordinary existence we are about to embrace. You will experience longing for your grandchildren every single day. But I would miss you more if I were to depart. She pressed her lips to his gently. Furthermore, the situation will not persist indefinitely. 18 months, Reeves stipulated. Then we can establish a life, a genuine one. I love you, Dante whispered. I ought to have articulated that sentiment sooner, but apprehension held me back. I am aware. I love you as well, despite your status as a wanted criminal who has utterly disrupted my life. Technically, you disrupted my life first. A valid observation. They remained in that posture until Reeves returned with the telephone for Amara's supervised conversation. 10 minutes, the operative stated. Convey what is necessary. Amara dialed her eldest daughter's telephone number with tremulous hands. Mama. Kai's voice conveyed concern. Where are you? You neglected to attend Sunday dinner, and you are not responding to your phone. I am safe, my dear. I am well, but I require you to listen with utmost diligence. Amara drew a breath. I have become entangled in a complex and perilous situation. I am unable to disclose specifics, but I am assisting the FBI with a crucial investigation. I will be absent for an indeterminate period, possibly a prolonged one. A period of silence followed on the other end. Then, Mama, what have you done? I am endeavoring to do what is right, but this entails my inability to see you or the grandchildren for several months, perhaps longer. Months? Mama, the children require you. Michael's communion is next month. Zara's graduation. I am aware. Tears streamed down Amara's face. I am aware, and I am profoundly regretful. But this is of great importance, and I require your trust. Does this involve that gentleman? The one you have been seeing? Amara cast a glance at Dante. Yes. Is he worth this? Worth leaving your family? I am not abandoning you. I am safeguarding you. There exist individuals with malevolent intentions who might attempt to exploit you to reach me. The FBI will provide security for you, your brother, and your sister. Kindly cooperate with them. Mama, convey my love to the children. Inform them that Grandma had to depart for a period to assist some individuals, but I will return. Ann Key, Amira's voice faltered. I apologize for all of this, but I give you my word that upon its conclusion, I will elucidate everything. When will it conclude? I do not know, but I shall return. I solemnly vow to return. She bid her daughter farewell, then contacted her son and other daughter, engaging in similarly distressing conversations. By the time she concluded, she was trembling. Dante drew her into his embrace, holding her as she wept. "We can still halt this," he murmured. "I can inform them you have reconsidered." "No," Amara pulled back, dabbing her eyes. "I have made my decision. My children will eventually comprehend. And if they do not," she took a shaky breath, "then I will endure that, but I will not forsake you." Reeves reappeared, accompanied by 2 U.S. Marshals and a stack of documents that would initiate the process of making Dante Xiao and Amara Akaver disappear from the world. September 16th, 2:47 in the morning. A safe house situated somewhere within Maryland. The safe house was, in reality, a farmhouse. It was situated on 40 acres of desolation, fields and trees, and a gravel path that led to nowhere of consequence. 2 marshals maintained alternating shifts in a separate structure. The house itself was unpretentious. 3 bedrooms, a kitchen that appeared as though it had not undergone modernization since 1985, and windows equipped with bulletproof glass. "Home sweet home," Amara remarked, surveying the outmoded floral wallpaper. "It is dreadful," Dante concurred. "Entirely so. Would you care to redecorate? We are likely prohibited from doing so. When has that ever deterred you? Despite everything, the exhaustion, the fear, the surreal nature of their predicament," Amara emitted a laugh. They spent their initial night acclimatizing to the house's familiar patterns. The way the 3rd step emitted a creak, how the bathroom door tended to stick, the specific location from which the sunrise would penetrate the kitchen window. At 4 in the morning, unable to find slumber, they sat at the kitchen table, sipping instant coffee, the immense weight of their actions pressing down as if a tangible entity. "My brother is aware by now. Dante stated that I had communicated with the FBI. He will have informants among individuals who observed us at Federal Plaza. What actions will he undertake? He will expedite matters, relocate funds, obliterate evidence, and invoke every favor he possesses. He will consolidate his authority. Perhaps he will initiate a move against Castellano to demonstrate his strength." Dante's fingers tightened around his mug. "And he will dispatch an individual to apprehend us. Multiple individuals. He will not cease until I am deceased. The marshals are competent, but they are not infallible. Marcus has been anticipating betrayal his entire existence. He is prone to paranoia and is meticulously thorough. He will discover a means." Amara absorbed this information. "Consequently, we are not secure even in this location. We are more secure. That is the optimal provision I can offer." "Then we shall accept it," she stated, reaching across the table. "And while we await the FBI's construction of their case, we are going to undertake something radical. What might that be? To exist. To genuinely live, not merely to endure. We will awaken each morning and partake in breakfast. We will embark on walks across those fields. We will embody an impossibly defiant sense of normalcy until the world acknowledges our presence." Dante gazed at her as though she had proposed traversing to the moon. "Normal," he repeated. "Normal, you know, tedious routines, unremarkable conversations, figuring out household chores. I have never handled dishwashing my entire existence." "Then get ready to acquire that knowledge," she stated, standing and helping him to his feet. "Come, the sun is ascending. Let's observe it from the porch." Quote, 1. This is quite unreal. Quote 2. To be seated here with you, watching the sunrise as if we were ordinary individuals with ordinary existences. We are ordinary individuals. We are simply temporarily complex, ordinary individuals. Quote 3. I am a criminal informant in witness protection. You are a grandmother who has forsaken her family to shelter said criminal. That is not ordinary. Quote 4. All right, I concede, but we could achieve normalcy. Eventually, I mean. Quote 5. When this concludes, when your family is incarcerated and we can emerge from seclusion, what aspirations do you hold? Quote 6. I haven't contemplated that far ahead. Think about it now. Dante remained quiet for a considerable duration. I desire to instruct at the collegiate level, perhaps in business management or economics. I possess aptitude in those areas, and they do not necessitate explaining the origin of my knowledge. I wish to reside in a tranquil setting, perhaps near the water. I want... He paused, feeling a touch embarrassed. What? I want to coach Little League. Is that foolish? I used to play baseball before my father deemed it a futile pursuit. I was skilled. I wish to impart to children how to throw a curveball and avoid corrupting them as my family corrupted me. Amara's chest felt constricted. That is not foolish. That is perfect. What about you? I wish to cease working 3 jobs. I want to share Sunday dinners with my grandchildren once more. I wish to journey, to witness places I have only encountered in literature, Nigeria, to visit relatives I have not seen in 20 years. Perhaps Europe, she smiled. And I wish to continue as a waitstaff, just one position at a respectable establishment, where I can converse with patrons and make them feel welcomed. It is the singular aspect I have consistently enjoyed, more so than Morris's diner. Different. His diner represented survival. This would be a deliberate selection. They sat in comfortable quietude as the sun ascended further, imbuing the sky with hues of the pink and gold. We will endure this, Amara declared, and then we shall possess that life, the uneventful, ordinary, beautiful existence that we both desire. A promise. A promise. She had no certainty whether this was a pledge she could uphold. However, in that instant, observing the sunrise over Maryland's farmland, with a reformed mobster who had relinquished everything for her, it felt attainable. It felt like hope. 3 months later, December 18th, 4:33 p.m. Safe House, Maryland. The telephone call arrived on a Tuesday. Dante was instructing Amara in the preparation of bulgogi, one of the few dishes his grandmother had taught him prior to her demise, when his FBI-issued telephone began to ring. Agent Reeves's voice was strained. "We have encountered a predicament." Dante's stomach constricted. "In what capacity?" "The kind where your sibling has just ascertained your whereabouts." The kitchen knife relinquished its hold, clattering to the floor. "How?" Dante demanded. "This location was confidential. Only 6 individuals were privy to it." 7. One of our marshals was compromised. We are uncertain whether it was through bribery or coercion, but he initiated a transmission 3 hours ago. We have apprehended him, but the damage is done. How much time do we have? Best case scenario, 6 hours. Worst case scenario, they are already en route. Amara had grown pale, yet her voice remained steady. What is the departure strategy? 2 marshals are positioned outside. They will transport you to a secondary site in Virginia. Subsequently, we will relocate you again tomorrow to an undisclosed location that your family would not anticipate. However, you must depart presently. Pack 1 satchel each, only essential items. What concerning the testimony? Dante inquired. The legal proceedings are still advancing. We possess sufficient evidence to commence apprehending individuals next week. We are merely expediting the timetable, but presently, your security is paramount. They packed with remarkable speed in 5 minutes flat. Clothing, official documents, the modest assortment of commonplace articles that had acquired significance over the preceding 3 months. A coffee mug that pleased Amara, a volume Dante was midway through, a photograph captured by one of the marshals during Thanksgiving. As they approached the exit, Dante paused. "What is it?" Amara inquired. "This is it. This is the existence we endeavored to construct. Unremarkable mornings and culinary instruction, and observing mediocre television in the evenings. And it has already concluded." "It has not concluded. It is merely on hold." She grasped his hand. "We shall reclaim it. Following the trial, after all has transpired, we shall reclaim it." The marshal burst through the entryway before Dante could articulate a response. "We must depart presently. We have detected movement on the access thoroughfare. 3 vehicles are heavily armed." They fled. The marshal's vehicle was already operational, with the second marshal at the helm. They propelled themselves into the rear seating as projectiles perforated the farmhouse's transparency behind them. "Proceed!" the first marshal commanded. The vehicle surged forward, gravel scattering through the rear window. Dante observed individuals disembarking from black SUVs. 6, 7, 8 of them, highly skilled operatives. Marcus had dispatched his finest. Further ordnance fire erupted. The vehicle's rear panels became webbed with cracks but remained intact, protected by bullet-resistant glass. Thank Providence. They navigated the service road at 70 miles per hour, trees a blur in their periphery. The marshal operating the vehicle was communicating via radio, requesting reinforcements. State police, anyone. Quote, 6. Amara commented, glancing backward. 2 SUVs had detached to follow them. The road was narrow and winding, unsuitable for a high-velocity chase. Quote, N7? Dante inquired. Quote, 8. The driver responded grimly. Quote, 9. A third SUV materialized ahead, obstructing the pathway. The driver wrenched the wheel, causing them to careen onto a sidetrack. Trees pressed in on either flank. The vehicle's undercarriage scraped against a root, a shriek of metal. Plan B, the first marshal stated. He retrieved his portable communication device, typing with urgency. There is a disused construction site 2 miles to the north. Multiple structures, ample cover. We shall establish a defensive position there until aid arrives. How long for assistance? 20 minutes. We may not have 20 minutes, Dante remarked. Then we shall endeavor to make every second count. The construction site was a partially finished residential development, abandoned when the developer faced bankruptcy. Skeletal edifices ascended from mud and weeds, their vacant apertures resembling hollow eyes. They concealed the vehicle behind the furthest structure and commenced running. You two occupy the dwelling on the left, the driver, Marshall, instructed. Second floor, east-facing aperture, advantageous vantage points, 1 entry point. Barricade yourselves within and do not emerge until I declare it safe. And you? Amara inquired. We shall impede their progress. He presented Dante with a firearm. You are familiar with its operation. Regrettably, yes. Then employ it if necessary. Protect her. That is your sole responsibility henceforth. They advanced. The upper level of the dwelling presented a labyrinth of drywall and exposed structural elements. Dante located a chamber with a single portal and a window affording a view of the approach. He maneuvered a metallic toolbox to obstruct the doorway while Amara assessed their ammunition. 8 rounds, she disclosed. That is all we possess. Then we shall ensure they are effectively utilized. Below, they discerned the hum of engines, the measured sounds of trained assassins commencing their search. Dante positioned himself by the window, weapon poised. Amara crouched beside him, her hands trembling, yet her gaze resolute. I apologize, he whispered. For what? For ensnaring you in this? For Dante? She cupped his face, compelling him to meet her gaze. If you offer one more apology for loving me, I shall discharge this weapon myself. We made this choice collectively. Whatever transpires subsequently, we shall confront it together. A gunshot reverberated from the opposite side of the construction site, followed by another. A scream was abruptly silenced. The marshals were engaged. They are diverting them away from us, Dante comprehended, affording us time. Further volleys of gunfire. An explosion, perhaps a detonation, or a vehicle's fuel tank. The structure shuddered, then an unnerving quietude descended. Footfalls echoed on the level below. Dante raised his weapon. The portal they had barricaded vibrated as an individual tested its integrity. Then a voice, familiar, cherished, distorted by animosity, called out, Quote, 3. He had attended personally. Quote, 4. Amara's hand tightened its grip on Dante's arm. Quote, 5. Quote, Yai. Amara implored. Dante's finger tightened on the trigger. However, if you compel me to enter, Marcus continued, I shall dispatch her first, force you to witness, and then I shall take my time with you. Our mother desires your survival. She presumes she can still effect your redemption, reintegrate you into the family. But me, I perceive you as a malignancy, and the sole remedy for malignancy is excision. Silence. 10 seconds, Dante, Marcus declared. Then I shall enter. Dante regarded Amara, observing apprehension in her eyes. Certainly, but also profound trust. She believed he would devise an escape. He harbored no conviction that he could. 5 seconds. The barricade would not hold. His brother had brought sufficient personnel to overcome any defense. 8 rounds would prove insufficient. The reinforcements would not arrive in time. They were fated to perish in this unfinished dwelling in Maryland, and all for which they had contended, the testimony, the aspiration of an ordinary existence, the future they had envisioned, would perish with them. Unless I emerge, Dante declared. No, Amara admonished, grasping his arm. Trust me, he whispered, then louder. I am emerging, but I require confirmation that the marshals are alive first. Marcus emitted a peal of laughter. They are not. I ensured that. You are isolated, younger brother, precisely as you have perpetually dreaded being. Dante's thoughts accelerated. The window. It faced east, overlooking the access road. If he could orchestrate a diversion, compelling Marcus and his men to concentrate on the doorway, perhaps Amara could descend, flee towards the trees, and conceal herself until the genuine reinforcements arrived. It was a precarious strategy. It would likely prove unsuccessful, but it was all he possessed. Okay, he stated. He shifted the toolbox, his form obscuring Amara from sight. As he did, he whispered, "When the shooting starts, use the window rope from those electrical cables and head south. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. You have to. One of us needs to survive to offer testimony, to ensure Morris's sacrifice had meaning. Please." Tears traced paths down her face, but she nodded. Dante inhaled, then opened the door. Marcus stood on the landing with 4 armed men. His brother appeared older than Dante recalled, harder, meaner. Success had rendered him cruel. "There you are," Marcus said. "Where's the old woman?" "Gone. She ran when she heard you coming." Marcus's eyes narrowed. Quote 3. He motioned to 2 of his men. Quote, the men moved past Dante, entering the room where Amara awaited. This was the moment. Dante raised his weapon and fired at his brother. The projectile struck Marcus in the shoulder, spinning him around. Chaos erupted as the other 2 men opened fire. Dante dove for cover. He heard Amara's footsteps as she fled toward the window. Dante fired again and again, expending his ammunition at anything that moved. Return fire perforated the walls surrounding him. Something searing tore through his side. He'd been wounded, he realized with detachment. Amara was at the window now, climbing out. Quote 5. He cried out. She glanced back one last time, their gazes meeting across the pandemonium, and then she vanished. One of Marcus's men rushed to the window to fire at her, but Dante tackled him. They fell in a heap of limbs, punching and grappling. Dante's training, honed by 20 years of conflict, took over. He maneuvered his arm around the man's throat, squeezing until a distinct snap echoed. Then, something cold pressed against the back of his head. "Enough," Marcus said. Dante froze. His brother hauled him upright, one arm hanging uselessly from the shoulder wound, his face contorted with fury and agony. "You shot me, your own brother. You were going to kill us. I was going to give you a choice." Marcus struck him with the gun, and Dante's vision exploded into a cascade of stars. Quote 8. He hit Dante again. Quote 9. Quote 10. Another blow. Blood filled Dante's mouth. "Where? Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you." Marcus pressed the gun to Dante's temple. Quote 13. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus heard them too. His expression shifted from triumph to fury. Quote 15. He stepped back. Quote 15. He and his remaining man fled. Dante slumped against the wall, bleeding from his side and his head. The room spun. The sirens grew louder. He thought of Amara running through the woods. He hoped she had gotten far enough. He hoped she would survive long enough for the police to find her. He hoped she would forgive him for not devising a better plan. As consciousness waned, Dante's final thought was a prayer to a God he had ceased to believe in years prior. "Keep her safe, please. That's all I ask." Then darkness claimed him. Walter Reed Medical Center, Bethesda, Maryland. Dante awoke to white ceilings and the rhythmic beep of monitors. For a disoriented moment, he believed he was back in his grandfather's house, in the medical room where they treated injuries that couldn't be explained to hospitals. Then, the memories crashed back. The chase, the standoff, Amara climbing out the window, Marcus's gun at his head. Amara. He attempted to sit up, gasping at the pain that speared through his side. "Easy." A hand rested on his shoulder. Agent Reeves, looking weary. "You've got 3 cracked ribs, a concussion, and a through-and-through bullet wound. The doctors said you're lucky to be alive." "Amara," he managed. "Where?" "Safe. She's fine. She made it half a mile into the woods before state police found her. Dehydrated, terrified, but alive." The wave of relief was so profound Dante had to close his eyes against it. The marshals. he asked, though he already knew. Reeves's expression darkened. Quote, 6. But she shook her head. Quote, 7. More blood on his hands, more people who had paid the price for his choices. Quote, 8. Quote, 9. Quote, 10. Quote, 11. Reeves pulled up a chair. Quote, 12. Dante's mind raced, trying to calculate all the ways this could go wrong. That's too fast. They'll have time to destroy evidence, to run. We don't have a choice. Your brother's convincing the other families that you're an existential threat. He's calling in every favor, making alliances with people your family has been at war with for decades. If we wait any longer, he'll have enough power consolidated that even our testimony won't be enough to take him down. She leaned forward. We need you to testify. Grand jury session tomorrow afternoon. Are you up for it? Dante considered Morris, still recovering from the beating Marcus had inflicted. He thought of the 2 deceased marshals whose names he didn't even know. He pictured Amara running through dark woods because she had chosen to love him. Quote, Ace 16, he said. Quote, 17, quote, Ace 18, quote, 19. Reeves stood. Quote, 20. Dante's blood ran cold. What? She's in custody. We arrested her 2 hours ago on conspiracy charges. Figured we'd grab her before the main raid, so she couldn't warn anyone. She's refusing to talk to anyone except you. Reeves observed his reaction intently. You don't have to do this. It's not required for the case. Does she know about the testimony? She knows you've been cooperating with the FBI. She doesn't know the extent of what you've given us. Dante stared at the ceiling, weighing his options. His mother had raised him, shaped him, turned him into the weapon that had just turned on her. A part of him wanted to refuse, to let her sit in her cell and wonder how completely he had betrayed her. But another part, the part that was still impossibly her son, wanted to see her one last time. Okay, he said. I'll see her. December 19th, 24:77 p.m. FBI Field Office, Baltimore, Maryland. Isabella Xiao appeared smaller in the interrogation room. She wore an orange jumpsuit that washed out her complexion. No makeup, no jewelry, her hair tied in a simple ponytail. For the first time in his life, Dante saw his mother look ordinary. She looked up as he entered, and something flickered in her eyes. Pain, perhaps, or relief. Dante,